Scorpio, you feel this strange sensation that's been growing inside you for the past few weeks, as if something is slowly loosening in your chest, as if the invisible strings connecting you to someone very important are being cut one by one, thread by thread, so slowly that neither you nor they can quite grasp what's really happening. But I notice, and you're starting to notice too, even if you try to pretend otherwise. Scorpio, you're about to be ripped from someone's life so completely, it'll be as if you'd never met. And the most disturbing part of all this is that they won't see it coming. They'll wake up one day and simply realize you've vanished from their reality. But they won't be able to pinpoint the exact moment it happened. To them, it will be as if you've slowly evaporated, leaving only a vague memory that something important once existed there, but is now gone. Can you feel it happening? This energy of disconnection pulsing deep within your soul? It's not something you're consciously choosing. It's something being orchestrated at much deeper levels of your existence. It's your Scorpio essence recognizing that the time has come for a symbolic death, a radical break, a transformation that is only possible when you completely remove yourself from certain dynamics that have already served their purpose in your evolution. For years, you may have wondered why certain relationships in your life felt so intense, so all-consuming, so impossible to explain to others. Why you connected with certain people in ways that went far beyond the ordinary, creating bonds that seemed to transcend time and space. Now you're discovering the answer. These connections existed to teach you about your own transformative power. And when the lesson is complete, the cut must be made. What's happening to you isn't a simple separation or a gradual drift away. It's a surgical removal, like when a doctor removes an organ that no longer functions, or removes something that, if left, would compromise the health of the entire body. You're being removed from this person's life because your presence no longer serves the growth of either of you. In fact, if you remained, you would begin to act as an obstacle to the evolution you both need to experience. This doesn't mean you didn't love each other. It doesn't mean the connection wasn't real. It doesn't mean the moments you shared were worthless. It means you fulfilled your transformative role in that person's life, and now you need to step aside so they can integrate the lessons you taught them and move on to the next phase of their life, and vice versa. Are you feeling the pain of this withdrawal, even if you can't yet fully name what's happening? It's as if a part of you is slowly dying, being shut down, losing the vitality that once pulsed through this connection. But here's what your rational intellect hasn't yet grasped. This death is necessary for the birth of the next version of you. You can't evolve into who you need to become while remaining energetically intertwined with who you once were. Scorpio has always been the sign of transformation through destruction. You don't change gradually, comfortably, keeping everything in place while adding small new additions. You change through total deaths and complete rebirths. And this process you're experiencing now is one of those deaths, the death of the version of you that existed in relation to this specific person. For Scorpios, born between October 23rd and November 2nd, this removal is related to someone who served as a mirror to their own shadows. You connected deeply because you could see hidden aspects of yourself in each other, but now it's time to stop using the other as a mirror and develop your own capacity for self-observation. For those born between November 3rd and 13th, the person you're being ripped from represented a form of emotional security that you need to learn to create internally. And for Scorpios born between November 14th and 22nd, this removal is connected to someone who limited your expression of personal power, even if unconsciously. What you will all discover is that after the extraction process is complete, you will feel simultaneously empty and full. Empty because a space that was occupied by this presence will now be free. Full because you will have recovered all the energy you invested in keeping this connection going. And it is this recovered energy that will fuel the next phase of your personal transformation. The reason they won't notice your removal happening is that you will gradually become invisible to them. Not physically, but energetically. Your presence will stop registering in their consciousness as something significant. Your words will begin to sound like background noise. Your physical absence will not generate longing or concern. You will become, for all practical purposes, irrelevant in their life experience. And it will hurt. It will hurt in a way few can comprehend. Because for you, the connection is still vivid, still real, still pulsating with intensity. You will have to deal with the pain of becoming insignificant to someone who is still significant to you. You will have to process the confusion of loving someone who can no longer truly see you. You will have to accept that your importance in this person's life has ended, even as your importance in your own is just beginning. But here's what will sustain you through this painful process. You'll begin to realize that as you become less important to them, you become more important to yourself. As they stop seeing you, you begin to see yourself with a clarity you've never had before. As your energy stops flowing toward them, it begins to circulate within you, creating an inner vitality you forgot was possible. The extraction that's happening is like cosmic surgery, painful, necessary, transformative, and like all surgery, it requires a recovery period where you'll feel fragile, exposed, and uncertain about how to live without something that seems so essential. But also, like all successful surgery, it will result in a completely new quality of life, a capacity to function that didn't exist before. Scorpio, you need to understand that you are being prepared for a phase in your life where your emotional intensity, your ability to see through surfaces, your ability to transform yourself and others, will be directed in a completely new way. You cannot access this new way of being while remaining stuck in dynamics that belong to the previous version of you. The person you're being ripped away from represented a kind of connection that was appropriate for who you were before. But you're becoming someone different, someone who needs a different kind of relationship, a different kind of intimacy, a different kind of mirroring. And you can't attract these new forms of connection while your energy is tied to old patterns. During this process, you may experience intense waves of different emotions, moments of anger at having to go through this alone, moments of sadness at the loss of what you had, moments of relief at finally being able to stop carrying the weight of that connection, moments of fear about who you will be without that person defining part of your identity. All of these emotions are valid and necessary. They are part of the process of metabolizing the experience you shared. But as these emotional waves pass, you'll begin to notice something extraordinary happening. You'll begin to remember who you were before you met this person, not in a nostalgic way, but in a revelatory way. You'll rediscover aspects of yourself that were modified or suppressed during the period of connection. You'll reclaim dreams that were put aside. You'll feel forgotten desires resurface with renewed force. And then you'll understand that extraction wasn't a loss. It was a recovery of the totality of who you are when you're not being defined in relation to anyone else. A recovery of your ability to exist as a whole being, not as half of a duo. A recovery of your personal power that was diluted in the dynamics of connection. What makes this process even more profound is that you'll begin to notice patterns. You'll see that this isn't the first time you've experienced an extraction like this. That there's a pattern in your life where you connect intensely with certain people, absorb from them everything you need to learn, offer them everything they need to receive, and then are naturally removed when the cycle is complete. It's as if you're a human catalyst, entering people's lives to accelerate specific transformations and then leaving to allow them to integrate the changes. This realization can be both liberating and frightening. Liberating because you finally understand your unique role in people's lives. Frightening because it means you may have to accept that your most intense connections are, by nature, temporary. that you may be someone people love deeply but can't keep around indefinitely. But here's the most profound transformation that's coming. You will learn to love intensely without clinging to the outcome. You will learn to give yourself completely without expecting permanence. You will learn to be a catalyst for transformation without needing to witness all the results of the changes you bring about. And this ability will grant you a kind of emotional freedom few humans experience. As you embrace your transformative nature, as you stop resisting the extraction process, something magical happens. You no longer need to be forcibly ripped away. You develop the wisdom to recognize when a cycle has completed and the grace to withdraw on your own. You stop clinging to connections that have already served their purpose and learn to exit gracefully when you realize your presence no longer serves mutual growth. And when you develop this skill, your power of transformation multiplies exponentially because you're no longer wasting energy trying to keep alive something that has naturally come to an end. All your life force becomes available for new connections, new cycles, new opportunities to catalyze profound change. The person you're being ripped away from now may never fully understand the role you played in their life. They may never recognize how much you transformed them. They may never properly value what you shared, and you need to make peace with that. Because your worth doesn't depend on others' recognition. Your importance isn't measured by the gratitude you receive. Your purpose isn't validated by others' understanding. You are an agent of transformation. And agents of transformation often work behind the scenes, at unconscious levels, in the deepest layers of human experience. Your work is felt, but not always seen. It is powerful, but not always understood. It is essential, but not always recognized. Over the next few weeks, as the extraction process intensifies, you may experience moments where you want to fight it, where you'll want to cling to the connection, try to rekindle the intensity that existed before, force a recognition that will never come. Resist these temptations. They will only prolong your pain and delay your evolution. Instead, practice the art of letting go with dignity. Practice honoring what you had without trying to recreate it. Practice being grateful for the experience without trying to extend it. Practice loving the person they've become through their connection with you, even if that transformed person no longer has room for you in their life. And most importantly, practice looking inward instead of outward. Practice discovering who you've become through this connection. Practice recognizing your own growth, your own transformation, your own evolution, because while you were focused on transforming them, you were also being transformed. And now it's time to integrate this personal transformation and discover who you are in their absence. Scorpio, you're about to discover something about yourself that will forever change the way you relate to your own identity. You'll discover that you are complete, that you don't need anyone to define you, complete you, or validate you. That you are a force of nature in your own right, capable of fully existing in the absence of any external connection. This realization may scare you at first, because it means taking full responsibility for your own fulfillment, your own happiness, your own sense of purpose. There's no one else to blame for your feelings. There's no one else to hold accountable for the quality of your life experience. There's no one else to use as an excuse for not becoming all you can be. But it's precisely this total responsibility that will give you access to your full power. When you stop relying emotionally on others to feel whole, you become available for much deeper and more satisfying types of connection. When you stop seeking your identity in the reflections you receive from others, you discover your true essence. When you stop measuring your worth by the love you receive, you learn to generate love from within. The extraction that's happening is as if the universe is forcing you to find your own inner roots. For a long time, you may have nourished yourself through external connections, drawing energy, purpose, and identity from the intense relationships you created. But now you're being forced to develop your own internal nourishment systems. And when you do, When you learn to sustain yourself emotionally through your own inner resources, you will become a completely different kind of partner, friend, family member. You will become someone who connects from abundance, not need. Someone who offers presence by choice, not dependence. Someone who loves from completeness, not emptiness. This doesn't mean you'll become cold or distant. It means your future connections will be based on a mutual desire for growth rather than a mutual need for fulfillment. It means you'll attract people who are also whole and want to create something beautiful together, rather than people who need you to feel whole. The pain you're feeling now, this pain of being ripped away from someone you still love, is like labor pains. It's the pain of giving birth to a new version of yourself. And like all labor pains, it's temporary, but what comes out of it is permanent. The person you'll become on the other side of this experience will be someone you can barely imagine now, but who you'll instantly recognize when they emerge. During this extraction process, be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to feel the full intensity of what's happening without trying to minimize or rush it. Give yourself permission to grieve the loss of connection without rushing to get over it. Honor the depth of what you shared by allowing the end to be as intense as the beginning. And remember, you're not being ripped away as punishment. You're being ripped away as preparation. Preparation for more authentic connections, for more mature love, for a way of existing in the world that fully honors who you truly are. The person who won't notice your departure isn't bad or wrong. They simply fulfilled their role in your evolution and now need to follow their own path of growth. In a few weeks or months, when the process is complete and you've integrated everything this experience had to teach you, you'll look back and see this moment as one of the most important in your life. Not for what you lost, but for what you gained. Not for what was taken from you, but for what was revealed within you. Not for the connection that ended, but for the new capacity for connection that was born. You are being ripped apart so you can dive deeper into yourself. So you can emerge more complete, more aware, more powerful. So you can offer the world a version of yourself that didn't yet exist, but was always possible. And this new version will create connections so beautiful, so profound, so transformative, that you'll understand why it was necessary to go through this painful extraction to reach them. Trust the process, even when you can't see where it's taking you. Trust the wisdom of your Scorpio soul, which has always known that real growth requires symbolic deaths. Trust the intelligence of the universe, which is orchestrating this removal for the greater good of all involved. And most importantly, trust your own ability to rise from the ashes stronger, wiser, and more prepared for true love than ever before. If this message touched something deep within you, it confirms that you're experiencing exactly the process I described. Share in the comments, if you feel comfortable, any feelings of disconnection or distance you've noticed in an important relationship. Your experiences can offer comfort and understanding to other Scorpios going through the same transformative process. Subscribe to the channel to receive guidance on how to navigate this and other intense transformations that are part of Scorpio's nature. You will need support to integrate the changes that are coming and to learn to live from your new internal configuration. Remember, you are not being ripped away because you are inadequate or insufficient. You are being ripped away because you perfectly fulfilled your transformative role. And now is the time to discover what other extraordinary transformations you are capable of catalyzing when you operate from your personal wholeness. The best is yet to come.